Hello and welcome to an amazing podcast. This is Captain Destructive.
This is Modi.
This is Matt, and I'm part of the Fantastic Four because that's coming. I wanted to say something about Fantastic Four since that's coming out, but
That
I
joke
couldn't get
was
there.
fantastic forced. Ba-da-boom.
Yeah. Thank you.
He's here all day.
I'm
Damn
here.
right.
Yeah.
And we
He's
are
here.
talking about My Hero Academia Vigilantes, episode 13, the final episode. And, okay, so I'll start out, and I feel like this will probably be, I think this could be a good, we could make this a review of the final episode, as well as final thoughts on the series. So, I enjoyed the episode. I definitely have this, I don't know. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I feel like a lot of seasonal shonen series have a weird habit of ending on weird spots. Like I enjoyed a lot of the stuff that happened in this episode. I liked some of the payoffs, but I almost feel like this could have been a really strong start to season 2. I love Captain Celebrity. I love. I really enjoying Ida's brother, even though he's a dang quitter. I'm just saying he didn't need his legs, and I'm still enjoying Koichi and Copstep's interactions. And I swear to God, I in the later seasons, I want Koichi's shack to be like the Hall of Justice for the heroes in My Hero Academia. You have it's like a final battle. It's they're all getting prepped up, and they're all just sitting crammed in Koichi's tiny shack, trying to plan out. All right, this is how we're going to take down All for One. I will also say that we had a lot of really good moments with Knuckle Duster and his daughter. I'm really hoping this isn't one of those situations where he disappears for a couple of seasons and then shows back up. He was such a positive influence on the world. Okay, we all know he has a pain pill addiction at this point. He should at least make it productive. What kind of message would we be sending to his daughter if he stopped punching people in the face? I mean, okay, and think about it this way. The flashback before he became Knuckle Duster is he's a pretty shit father. Now, after he spent a good couple of years just I'm gonna say a couple of months punching people in the face and shaking down drug dealers, he's all of a sudden a freaking walking parenting book right now. Just wait.
Imagine the heights he could reach if he just kept going.
I'm just picturing we find out and he comes back as Knuckle Duster just because after he just stopped being a superhero or a vigilante, his parenting skills just went right back down in the gutter as his daughter is just completely estranged from him again.
I'll just beat him again.
Damn it, my daughter isn't a super villain anymore. I have to beat up someone else's daughter. What do you think he told the hospital when he brought her in there? It's oh yeah, you see, she was being possessed by a bee, so I had to punch her a couple times to get it out of her.
There was a bee in her skull.
Her head was full of bees. I know this is an anime. I'm happy she survived, but I'm saying medical technology is pretty impressive. If you can have
They have healers.
that much.
Super healers, right?
I think so, but it's they're less magic-y, more there's always restraints to a lot of that kind of stuff. That bee took up most of the space in her skull. I'm surprised she's not a vegetable at this point.
In there, yeah. Sorry, I was looking up the characters so I would have their names ready. And I don't think it'll be actual spoilers, but potential spoilers. Captain Celebrity's real name, I didn't realize, is Christopher Skyline.
Mm-hmm.
And he was born on July 4th.
That's funny. That's kind of perfect.
Okay, Captain Skyline would have been a way cooler superhero name, by the way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Again, I love the fact that he felt like this is he was set up to be the most patriotic ass superhero possible. Like, not even Captain America, I think, was born on July 4th, and he effed up so hard that they were just like, yeah, we know you're like our strongest asset.
You're getting deported.
Yeah. But I'm American. You're going to Japan, man.
I will say
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I really want it to be revealed at the end of the series that his like ex-wife is secretly just all for one in a wig, and he's just like, "Oh, oh my God, sweetie, I hear you were hanging around with some illicit women. Sure would be a shame if these pictures got out."
I will say about Captain Celebrity, I didn't like him at first. I mean, I kind of didn't like him, or how do I put it? It's not that I didn't like him, but I didn't respect him.
Yeah.
Until this episode, when he was like, Koichi, what you're doing is like less than useless. Like, you need to just stop. You're not helpful at all. I was like, yeah, thank you. Like, because literally he's just going out trying to fight the villains, getting in worse trouble than the normal civilians, and needing to get saved. So it's like, it's pointless.
Hey, he tripped up that vampire guy, all right? Like, like you saying Koichi's not a like real hero. He already has an arch nemesis, and he wasn't even trying. Also, do you think that guy, like, okay, one thing I kind of I wonder is like, did the vampire guy do anything wrong in that episode? Because he literally just like outran like Ingenium and just flew over a concert. He just got like, you could easily say like,
he grabbed him.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, wait, did they even continue with that plot point? Like, why was he
also he attacked
for Koichi?
He attacked the van that Ingenium was at. Like, that he attacked like his crew. And he flipped over the van, and that's when Captain Celebrity had to come in and save them real quick. But like, their main point was they were using like him to test out Ingenium and Captain Celebrity, I guess. Like, their whole goal is to gather data with these drugged supervillains.
Compound beam.
Yeah, with their compound V.
Why was he like seeking
heroes.
out Koichi?
He tripped him
Koichi, over. Beat him initially, so he had a grudge.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
Did we see him commit any crimes either? Because like, part of my brain wants to say like he was just a really enthusiastic jogger or something.
Yeah, it's funny because I was like, wait a minute, is this like racial profiling or something? Because the moment he shows up, they're like, villain. It's like, why are you assuming that? Is it just because of how he looks?
I swear he did some villainous act, but also in this appearance, again, he attacks and almost
killed Makoto.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Actually, can you say it again?
No, I'm saying in this scene, he like attacks the crew, and then he goes after.
Yeah.
Koichi eventually, yeah.
Oh, by the way, how do you guys feel about Ezra Miller finally getting an anime adaptation?
What are you talking about?
The speedster, like the evil, like the Flash, the guy who's like has a lightning effect and everything, who's like helping out All for One, or like spreading the drugs and everything.
Oh, does he have a speed quirk?
That's what I'm assuming, because like he has the little lightning streak down his face, and as soon as he like disappears, he does like the whole like Flash lightning effect.
Oh, okay. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention to him because I did not catch that at all.
Yeah, me neither. I still don't even know who you're talking about. Actually,
he was the guy
the
like
newbie.
dressed like a
the newbie guy.
Like the guy who was dressed in like the like worker uniform with the hat.
Oh, okay, I remember him now. Okay, yeah, I see. Yeah, and he didn't do much either, right? Unless
he aura farmed.
Yeah, he aura farmed. Okay, yeah. That's what I remember.
Yeah. Also, this is a really
No,
this
go
is
on.
a really small thing, but I really like how they did the Girl Scout troops that were like performing at the concert too. I really like how they just made them look weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Like
didn't understand that.
I'm tired of kids looking overly cutesy. Kids are weird, okay? I want more weird looking kids in anime.
Okay, so they were kids. I couldn't even tell. Like, are they supposed to be kids or like?
Yeah,
Yeah, I was confused about that.
they're like elementary school students.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they were weird. I just felt sorry for them for some reason. I have no idea why. I just felt sorry for them. Maybe because they didn't get the hero appearance that they wanted.
They got Captain Celebrity, okay? And this is like he hasn't been canceled in Japan yet.
Yeah. But I wanted to talk about what you said in the beginning about this being a weird ending to the season, and I agree. I feel like the only reason they had a 13th episode was because they needed more time to finish off the plot line with Knuckle Duster, but I feel like they should have done whatever they could to complete that whole plot line in episode 12, even if that meant like not including some of the concert stuff, because yeah, this episode, you're right, it felt more like a first episode of a new season rather than a finale.
Dude,
No, I agree.
yeah.
Are they
I
are
will-
they writing Knuckle Duster out of the show?
I hope not. I really hope
I
not.
hope not either, because he was my favorite character of the main characters.
He's my favorite My Hero character right now. Like I went back and rewatched the beef, like him fighting like the bee girl from like last week. That was such a good fight scene. Oh my god. Like he's basically like I love the fact that he's just literally crazy Batman and I love it.
Have you read any of the manga, by the way, for Vigilantes?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just wondering.
Have you?
I'm also Buddy?
Hello?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I said, have you like read the manga?
Oh, no. I haven't.
Okay.
The reason I was asking is because the last time we reviewed it, you were like, this is even better than My Hero. And I was like, that's crazy, right?
First arc.
Yeah, and for some reason, I've been seeing a lot of people say that about Vigilantes, that it's even better. Now, I guess maybe I shouldn't be surprised because people really hate My Hero. So like maybe not like just, it doesn't like require much to clear the bar of being better than My Hero for a lot of people. But the other reason I was thinking is maybe it's because they're manga readers or something and they like have seen more and like it gets a lot better. Because to me, Vigilantes is like mediocre. So like that's why I was wondering like, maybe have you read the manga and do you think it's better, or like literally just off this first season do you think it's better than My Hero? That's why I was asking.
So okay, this is a small tangent. So for me, I can't say that it's objectively better, but I will say I kind of like it a little bit more just because it's what I was kind of expecting from like a superhero show where like the draw for like My Hero for me was it's a brand new superhero universe with the hook being like it's an anime about where superpowers are normalized and superheroes are like a career you can pursue and work as. And the reason I really enjoyed Vigilantes is because it showed us a lot of like the inner workings of being a hero, the whole balancing between like hero work versus PR stuff, cooperating with the police and local law enforcement. A lot of that stuff I thought was like really interesting and really fun, learning more about like the history of how like superheroes operate. And I think I really enjoyed the aspect of seeing like new crazy supervillains each week, which I thought was always really fun. My biggest issue with like My Hero Academia is it feels too slow for me. Like there's so many moments where they're just training, they're just sitting in the classroom and they're just doing the high school shtick, and that just isn't like a sort of a narrative device that kind of pulls me in. the one thing I will give My Hero over Vigilantes is it definitely has a way bigger emotional hook, and I think the whole conflict of it is a lot better. Like My Hero, so like for example, I feel like the main like thesis of My Hero is heroes aren't like born, they're made. Even if you start off weak and everything, you can become a great hero. And I feel like a lot of stuff in the first season builds up to that and leans into that. Whereas with Vigilantes, it doesn't really feel like it has very much of an emotional hook. Like I feel like the whole like thesis of Vigilantes is not all heroes are super like just because like you're not the strongest or just because you're not the flashiest doesn't mean like you can't like make an impact. And I think that's a really good like I think that's a really great emotional like thematic core. I wish they would lean into that more. Like there was a scene where like Captain Celebrity is just taught is like telling Koichi like you're not a hero, you can't do this, you're just causing trouble for us. And that could have been a really good like emotional moment where like Koichi is in his head is like I'm gonna become a hero, I can become a hero, you're wrong. Like he could be like no, you're wrong, I am a hero, I'm going to do this, I'll be just as good as you. But they don't really like play that up. It just felt like casual dialogue. And then you also have someone like Knuckle Duster who, as far as we know in this like from this season, is just a quirkless dad who lost his daughter who became a superhero just to get her back. And that's again like you have a guy who is just a regular dude out there being the biggest badass just because he wanted to save his daughter, even though he didn't have a quirk. And I think that's like a really fun story. I just wish we got more of that in this season.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think it's like one thing that I just realized is I feel like the Vigilantes angle is kind of weird with this series because, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not really even that much into superhero stuff, so I might be wrong. But I feel like most superhero stories that involve vigilantes, the vigilantes are there because the heroes are either there are no heroes or the heroes aren't doing their job. And I don't think either is the case for the My Hero world.
Well, here's the difference. Most heroes in other fiction are vigilantes. Like Batman's a vigilante.
Yeah.
Superman's technically a vigilante. Like Batman himself is like normally like part of what he has to do is he has to also just to avoid the cops because like to him the cops in Gotham are like just as like corrupt and compromised as like the villains are, which is like I keep bringing this every week so it's gonna be like annoying, but like I really don't. They're more like volunteer workers,
yes,
than they are like vigilantes. Like there's very little reality. We get the one scene with the police officers that are being like, vigilantes do this. We need to like get them too because what they're doing is dangerous, right? We never see any of that dynamic in this world. And like I said, like if Captain Celebrity was like had a big problem with Koichi and was like a piece of shit, he could be like, I'm turning you in. Like what you're doing is illegal. You're getting in my way or something. Like something that would mean like all I can tell is like if you're a vigilante in this world, you're just a hero without like a license.
Yeah, you're an unpaid hero.
Unpaid hero. Yeah.
100%. Like I feel the exact same way. That's why I was saying before, like Captain Celebrity is just completely right. Like there's literally no point in what they're doing. I feel like a better premise for the series would be because I really don't feel like as it stands, this is the type of world that actually needs vigilantes in the actual sense of the word, like Batman or whatever, right? So I feel like a better premise of the series would be what would be like Koichi trying to become a hero, not through the traditional means of like trying to become like a top hero by, even though he wasn't able to go through UA and
he's like an outsider.
An outsider trying to break in to the system, because I don't actually feel like, at least so far, I don't actually feel like the system is broken. Yeah, but I feel like they just like the Vigilantes just sounds cool, so they're like, let's go with
Honestly,
that. But I don't know.
what I would have liked if I could like, I don't know, One Piece live action this, I would get rid of the vigilante angle and just have Koichi be a college student who's just like the number who just is the embodiment of the C's get degrees like mindset where like he went through the hero program but he went through all the cheap ones like he got to like he went to like instead of UA he went to like UB or something like that and like he's definitely trying. He wants to be a hero. He wants to be in the system, so he's trying to like join up an agency. And then you have like Knuckle Duster, who's just this crazy old quirkless like superhero, running his own like back alley agency. And he's just like, "Oh my god, you want to like join my agency? Come on in!"
Yeah,
Like Pop Step's trying to like like you could have like Pop Step trying to become a hero because she wants to like progress her idol career, but like again like Knuckle Duster's the only like hero who would like accept them into their agency.
Or you can see like people with quirks that either like make them look disgusting in a way that makes them like very unprofitable, so they'd never make it as like a hero or something. Like just like big
yeah, that would be
outsiders
interesting.
of like, you know, this person's only quirk is that he like lights your blood on fire. So like he really has no other opportunity except like working outside the law. Like people who are just like very unconventional, who don't fit within the system, trying their best to like do right through the system or like outside of the system. Because I think it's the big problem that Vigilantes is running to. If it wants to be a show about vigilantes, is vigilantes work best when the system that they're in is either bad or incompetent. And right now, like the only heroes that we get to see uh, from the I guess the hero agency are like competent heroes, and like even Captain Celebrity still does his job
He's
very
really
well.
good. Yeah,
Like,
he's really good at
he's
his
good.
job.
He's his main issue is he's self-centered, but he always like saves the people. He does it for the wrong reasons, right? But we need to see
Yeah.
like why that's bad. We need to see the consequences of doing good things for the wrong reasons, and why like the vigilantes are good. Like working outside of that system. Like Ingenium is such like a good Boy Scout character too. Like I know like a lot of these characters show up in My Hero, and by the time we get to My Hero, since Deku is like an official hero, we need the system to be good. But it's just you kind of run into that problem when you have like a show about vigilantes. And I guess it's fine that they're not doing this. I just feel like it's kind of disappointing and a little bit like unrealistic that everything is just like works so properly.
And that's the thing that drives me crazy about Stain. I'm sorry I'm going back to that, but like
No, you're
you
good.
have a perfect example to show how dangerous working outside the law can be. You can like show how dangerous and why like
Yeah.
you can show like why being a vigilante can be dangerous, and you can also show like why the system fails. Like you could have like he was such a really great vessel for that, but they just like take him out in the first like they show him for like 2 episodes and they just get rid of him immediately. Like he could have been such a really good secondary antagonist or like a temporary protagonist for this, but they just drop him. And that's like the biggest issue with like My Hero for me is like in the later set like chapters in like third act, they really lean into this like, oh, the world is so corrupt. Oh, hero society is rotten to the core. And it's annoying because like you have a perfect spin-off to show why that is. But you don't. You go back and double down on like, yeah, the system works. There's no problem with this. Like
Yeah.
the only issue like you could critique is like hero school's BS. And like that's something you could like go into on how like predatory certain like educational systems could be, but they don't go into that either.
No.
Yeah. Like as it stands, I don't see any reason like Koichi's catching flack for doing vigilante stuff. I don't see anything stopping him from like being like, okay, I'm just gonna try to be an actual hero. You know, like he even got an offer from Ingenium, even though that didn't fall through. I mean, it fell through,
Yeah.
but Like I don't see. It's not like going to UA is the only way. So like, and clearly he wants to be a hero. So I don't see what's stopping him at all.
I
But you're
love
so
yeah.
right. He got a job. Like you don't even need to go to the school. You're right. He got a job offer.
Yeah.
I love the fact that like Ingenium took one look at Knuckle Duster and was like, "Nah, like he looks like a way this team looks way better fitted for you. Like this is a way better opportunity. Like this crazy homeless man is a way better mentor than I could ever be."
But like you need to have these interesting like philosophical conversations on like why like what we'll do to save people, and you need to have like kind of these fuck ups. Like maybe you have like Koichi because he's not following the rules somehow like fucks up an operation or something. Like something that shows there's negative consequences to doing vigilante. And like you said, I think Stain would have been like like if you start him out as being not crazy and being like reasonable within his own rights, and kind of have him be this other voice in Koichi's ear that's like kind of pushing him to do like more extreme things or something like that.
Mm.
uh just to create some kind of dynamic and different like philosophies that each of the characters would have.
Or like have Stain be like the result of the system breaking. Like you could have
Yeah.
had some like because we
Yeah.
mentioned before like villains get a free time off. Like a lot of the people who were like all quirked up, they were like,
Right.
okay, first offense, you're free to go. You could have had like someone like Stain, like maybe like one of his loved ones gets killed off by like one of these like first time offenders, and he's like, they let this freaking psychopath walk. They let him live. If they did their job and put this person on the ground, my loved one would still be there, still be here.
Where people die from Captain Celebrity waiting for like his camera crew to get there.
That's such an easy one to do. You're right.
I know.
Like, why didn't they do that?
Or heck, you could like Koichi, like you could have made Koichi carrying that one fat guy out the collapsing building a bigger scene, and like yeah, he chose to take the easy like PR save of like the beautiful woman. Meanwhile, he let the
Yeah.
like under prepped hero get the like disabled guy out the building.
Yeah. I just think there's stuff that they could be playing with that's like there, but they're like not really doing because maybe they just kind of want like a little bit of a, like a kind of, I don't know, like a right word of phrasing it without sounding offensive, but like an easier show,
This
where
is
things just kind of
definitely
like go right. Yeah.
like this is definitely a fun slice of life superhero show. Like if you go in with this being like a just a chill out popcorn show, I think there's a lot of like so much worse than you can do. But I do feel like there's a lot of like potential that they're kind of leaving on like the shelf with this. Heck, when they were talking about like how like superheroes started off in like America, where like people were in the whole debate of like whether, oh, do quirks count as the right to bear arms, or like or like just random people with quirks like stepping up to try to keep like order. Like that sounds like a really interesting like premise, and like watching how like the government sort of adapts to that. That could be
Yeah.
a really good premise, but like as like I definitely feel like as a slice of life show, it's pretty fun. I just wish it needs some sort of, I guess, edge to it.
Like we don't need it to be the boys. It's just like
Right.
a little bit of like complexity sprinkled into like these organizations. I think is like what the show could like really use.
like really show that like they are like these aren't like comic book characters. These are people, like, and people can be complex, they can make mistakes, they can be morally gray, they can be egotistical, and there's like pros and cons of working within the system versus working outside the system.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Anything else you guys have to say?
Matt, would you rather watch, as far as first seasons go, My Hero or Vigilantes? Which do you prefer?
Um, That's if I'm thinking of if I can like separate the rest of My Hero from the rest of what I watched, maybe My Hero.
Mm-hmm.
As surprising as that might sound,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this one. I know there's more show that's going to come from this, but it feels like a little bit more
Of the
like
same.
complete. Honestly, like
Mm-hmm.
it kind of wraps. It doesn't give me as much of like incentive to watch more as like My Hero does.
Mm.
Like honestly, I feel like if they had like a this is it, this is the end of the show. Besides like the hit that the one guy's like around, they could
Mm.
almost like wrap it up here.
You see, I keep hearing the rumor of like Deku working at McDonald's after like My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
I feel like this could be a really this you could have made this a sequel to that where like Captain Celebrity and like all the other heroes are like coming up after like All for One, and then like Deku's still trying to do hero stuff even though he's like a quirkless college kid or something like that. You could have had something really interesting with that almost.
Oh, I could totally see that. Yeah.
Mm.
Um, yeah, like a sequel instead of like a prequel.
Because it's suffering from the prequel itis thing of like I know this isn't like as like it's kind of like I know I hate to say it, but it feels like I don't see what the point of a lot of this stuff is because I know where the world is going to be by the time my hero kicks off.
It's
Like
also
we know,
like very soon before My Hero. Like
yeah,
we see Eraserhead and President Mike and All Might are like around and doing stuff.
mm,
So this only takes place like I don't know the exact timeline, but like what like 10 years before the events of My Hero,
I think
something
5 years.
like that,
I've heard
or
5 or 10.
5 years. So
Yeah,
it's like even weirder because like I don't think we see any of the original characters in this in My Hero, right? Like we don't see the Crawler or like Knuckle Duster. I mean, maybe they
no,
fucking die, but like.
which would be really disappointing.
But either way, like if this was like the if this was a show about like the very start
Mm,
of like professional heroism or whatever,
mm.
or if like you said it took place after what happened. Honestly, it even took place like 20 years before everything happened, right?
Or heck, if this
Um,
took place if this just took place in America,
yeah, it just took place like a different part of the world or like a different yeah. It just it does feel weird being like I feel like none of these characters are necessarily going to matter in the next show, and perhaps that's not fair to this show, which is that's the thing I have in the back of my mind.
I mean,
Um,
that's always like the issue with like prequels because it's like, all right, where are you exposing about like the next show? Where are you answer? What questions are you answering? Why should we want to go back into this portion of history? Because like you could argue like, oh, we get to see like All Might in action, but we already know this is after like he's on his like back end, so and we know there's no like real big threats in this time period, so.
yeah, it's like
It'd be
even
funny seeing All Might and Captain Celebrity compete for like, you know,
We never see like Captain Celebrity is such a like quiet as it kept, dangerously strong hero. They
yeah.
never interact with each other. Like
wouldn't it be
we
so funny if there was a scene? Sorry for cutting off, but wouldn't it be so funny if there was a scene where Captain Celerity met All Might and he was like, "Wow, you are such like an America boo," you know, like he's like, "You're so weird."
calm down, mighty. The place isn't that good.
Oh, that could be a fun scene where like All Might at first like kind of is like friendly and like a I don't know like oh my god, an American hero, this is so good. I have so much of my style from like American type of stuff. But then like finds out that like Captain Starbase is a complete fraud and just
Oh
like
yeah,
tears
no,
into him and be like you don't represent the true American way.
Or honestly, show the competition between the two of them because like
Yeah.
they're both like as far as we know they're both equally strong. Like we've never seen like All Might do something like easily lift up an oil tanker. You could have something like where you have two heroes with similar like styles, with similar thematics, but have like opposite views of heroism. Where like All Might's like, yeah, I'm a hero through and through, whereas like Captain Celebrity's like, oh yeah, I do it for the cameras, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Captain Celebrity teaches All Might how to be more of a celebrity, and then All Might teaches Captain Celebrity to become a hero.
Well, that's interesting though, because Captain Celebrity is not in My Hero, so like whatever happens to him in the next like I don't know how long they're gonna have this go, but for the rest of the show, like he clearly has to be like out of the picture by then. Maybe he gets canceled again, you know.
Makoto gets him ran out of like Japan, and he's like in Korea.
Or maybe he beats his case and they let him back in America.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
But that's the other thing. Like, we see the number one hero in America, like, during My Hero Academia, and it's not him.
Oh, really?
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is funny. Like, I do find this a real, like, part of me kind of laughs about the fact that the number one hero was a guy who got, like, Me Too'd out the country, and the second, like, number one hero is, like, the powerful and is, like, the number one, like,
Wait, I don't
Wonder
even
Woman
think this guy's.
pastiche.
I don't even think this guy was the number one hero, right?
He was.
Isn't he in like
No, I
the
don't-
top 10? Like, I don't think he's the number one American hero.
I think they said he was.
Okay,
Okay.
maybe.
Maybe I misheard that then, but
Yeah.
because I remember like Knuckle Duster comes in and he's like, that guy, he's not that great. He's like maybe like the seventh best or something like that.
Okay, yeah, because he calls him Captain Catastrophe for a second.
Yeah.
Which again, you think they would play into that more too? Like, this guy's clearly effed up. You could have like maybe him waiting for like the law enforcement to come in. Maybe that could have come from like, yeah, I Homelandered a plane, so I try to play my cards right. Which is funny to me because like I love the implication that like he pulls the boys on a freaking like airplane, and everyone looks past that, but he's just such a sex pest. That's the thing that gets him out of the country. Yeah, I accidentally did a 9/11, but that wasn't even the worst.
I just think the show doesn't want a character that's like that. That's too like, you know.
This definitely wants to be a Saturday morning cartoon, and I think when you look at it like that, it's pretty satisfying. But I think there's so much like untapped potential in like this show and this world too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It would
I
be
think I
nice
agree
to
with
have something that like something like because I feel like The Boys is, I like what they're doing, but it would be nice to see a more balanced take on that, where it's just like, yes, this can get really bad, but you also have this alternative or something. Like, show how, show, like, a realistic version of hero work, but also show, like, the pros and cons to this sort of system.
Yeah.
Anything else,
Okay.
you guys?
I think that's all I have.
I was gonna ask you. I mean, I think I can guess your answer, but because you asked Matt which season one he prefers. What about you?
I would buy, that's a tricky question for me. And this might sound weird, but I would buy the Blu-ray for Vigilantes before I buy the Blu-ray for, whatchamacallit, My Hero. Like, and the reason I say that is, like, when I think back to, like, the first season of My Hero Academia, the only moment that really stuck out to me was the final fight between All Might and Nomu. Whereas with this, there were a lot more moments where I kind of like had a lot more fun with, like Koichi and the team fighting that pack of kaiju villains. The interaction between like Captain Celebrity and Ingenium and all the cast. Like, I think this is a way better cast in Vigilantes than there is in My Hero Academia. And I think it comes down to the part of like this being a much more condensed crew, whereas in My Hero it's just like, oh, you have the teachers, oh, you have the students, oh, you have the supervillains, and we need to develop all of them in like 20-minute episodes. Whereas this, since the cast is way smaller, they all get a fair amount of breathing room. But the issue still stands that like My Hero has a much better emotional core. So if I had to like give an answer, I would say Vigilantes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so want to do ratings now?
Do you want to do it for the episode or for the final or for the entire season?
I think I want to do the entire season, honestly.
Okay. All right, so I'll go
Or
first.
you could do both if you want, but yeah.
I guess we can do both. I would say for this episode, I would give it a 8 out of 10. I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed the character moments with Pop Step, Koichi, Captain Celebrity, Makoto. I really enjoyed the payoff with Knuckle Duster and his daughter, and I am very interested in the new Speedster villain. But I will say this definitely feels more like this strongly feels like a season 2 episode 1 and less like a final episode of season, like more and less of a finale. So 8 out of 10.
Okay, and what about the whole season?
Full season 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm probably being generous with that, but I really gut feeling is I really enjoyed this show, and outside of it having like the problem of being a prequel, I'm looking forward to seeing more of this.
Okay.
And I would say that comes mostly down to the characters and less down to like this. For me, this is a characters first show and a plot second, whereas I don't really care like what happens next. I just want to see. I just like seeing these characters in action. Whereas with My Hero, I'm like, yeah, I want to see what happens next. I want to know what happens with Shigaraki or All for One and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So for me, I would say I think honestly like my analysis of the show is honestly pretty similar to yours in terms of like the pros and cons. The characters are the best part of the show, and I agree, and their dynamics and their interactions and all that. And but like a lot of the plot points, were kind of weak in my opinion, like we talked about. But I guess for me, the only difference is that the good parts are not as good for me, maybe as they were for you, and the bad parts are maybe detracting from it harder for me than they were for you. So I would give it, okay, first for the finale, for episode 13, I would probably give it a 4 out of 10, probably. On its own, it would probably get a 5, just in isolation. But the fact that it's like supposed to be a finale episode and it didn't really do a good job of being a finale episode, in my opinion, brings it down to a 4. And then the season as a whole, I would give it a 5. Yeah, I thought there were some parts that were enjoyable, especially having to do with like I said, the character interactions and stuff like that. Honestly, you guys were talking about the slice of life aspect. At this point, I feel like they should have just done a whole slice of life show and just left it at that. I probably would have rated it higher if that was the case. But everything else takes away from it too much. So yeah, I would just give it a 5 out of 10.
Okay, this is a small tangent, but again, going back to Matt's like pitch of just being like not necessarily about heroes, but just individuals living in this world. Can you imagine the ER staff when Knuckle Duster brings in his like daughters? Like, okay, we have a report of a teenage girl. Her arm was burned off with electricity. She's a freaking generator. Her head was full of bees, and they just yanked out 12 pounds of like queen bee from her skull. How are we going to deal with this?
There's so many more medical books you have to read to become a doctor. I had to learn eel anatomy now? Shit.
We have vampires now. Okay.
Also, minor tangent. I do think it's funny for the finale. Um, Knuckle Duster is beating the crap out of the main villain. Um, Also his daughter.
Mm.
As like the main kind of plot line, and then on the side, the other two main characters, Koichi and Popstep, are like, "Oh no, the festival's run out of power. What are we gonna do?"
It's so weird. Yeah.
I really
It's
wish
like
they
there's two
would.
different shows going on during this, and I feel like those two, maybe by design, haven't been given like a lot of like main stakes that like only Knuckle Duster's really gotten so far.
See,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, if the entire show was just about them helping Knuckle Duster get his daughter back, and it was the kind of thing was like, Knuckle Duster, you can't just keep things bottled up. You need help. You can't do this alone. And like the final finale was just three of them teaming up against B Girl, and like Knuckle Duster's like arc is him learning that he can't like do everything on his own as a solo act. That could have worked really good, but what we got was just eh.
Yeah. Turns out he can do things on his own.
With painkillers.
With painkillers and like
Pills.
defibrillators, like
Listen, the true like super soldier serum is just a bunch of pain pills and a bunch of beer.
oh god.
Don't do that.
Don't do that, kids. Should we move on to my rating, or does anyone else have anything to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm.
I think like a 5.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I think it was pretty good. I'd say to me, it's like on par with like a lot of like the My Hero without like some of the annoying or like creepy stuff that I don't like from My Hero.
Mm.
So like I would probably come back to this before I would My Hero. I just think it like lacks some of the cohesion or stakes that My Hero does, which is fine. It's just like you said, they kind of do like a little bit of both.
Mm.
They're like, we can't just have like a story about vigilantes, or we can't just have like a story about like kind of low level quirk people doing their best to make just like the daily lives of people better. We kind of have to do this like there are bees that are spreading drugs that are around the city that are making like this could rule the end of cause a massive wave of giant villains or whatever. But like we're gonna resolve that plot line with just, and I know this is like the first season, so they will probably cover it like later on. But it is just like I feel like there's a lot more potential here that they're not really fulfilling for me. And like what we get instead is like kind of like a little bit of a mess, but I still think it's like very enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's like 5.5.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Anything else, Joe?
Nothing from me.
Nope.
Cool.
Okay.
I'm good.
So that has been our review of episode 13 of My Hero Academia Vigilantes and the whole season. Thank you for watching, and come back next time when we will be reviewing
Summer anime.
Summer anime. Yeah. Bye.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.